Brooklyn Independent Television.
Does it seem like more and more children have allergies today? Take food allergies. The Centers for Disease Control says that from 1997 to 2007, the prevalence of reported food allergy increased 18% among children under 18. Is the key word there reported? Are we just more aware these days, or has something else changed? The American Academy of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology says that in a 2009-2010 study of more than 38,000 children, 8% have a food allergy. That's almost 6 million kids in the U.S. Those kids are 2 to 4 times more likely to have other allergies, as well as conditions like asthma. And are there additional emotional and social costs for these children? I want to welcome back someone who can help us with these questions, Dr. Michael Lanigan, Medical Director of the Urgent Care Center at Downstate Bay Ridge. Thank you for being here.
Glad to be back. Thank you.
So, is the key word reported? Are there more allergies, or are people just more aware of them?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. I think people are definitely more aware of their bodies and disease in general. Obviously, with the internet and other information sources available, they're going to increase their awareness of things like this. Also, there may be, in fact, be more diseases and more allergies out there due to the way foods are prepared and that sort of thing.
And one of the questions that I was thinking when I was looking at this is, do you ever remember going to the doctor for an allergy when you were growing up?
I didn't per se, but I did suffer from some seasonal allergies, which my father suffered from more severely than me.
We'll get back to the relationship between you and your father, but I just don't remember a lot of kids any kids, let me be honest here, going to doctors for allergies when I was growing up. But of course that was a while ago. So it's more aware and more allergies. What are the usual presenting symptoms for children with allergies?
Well, it could be anything. As with most things, it's a continuum, the most mild being things like sneezing, watery eyes, runny nose, which can be, really annoying and, borderline debilitating, but aren't life-threatening, of course. Next up, you may see stuff like a rash, and that could be anything from, just a regular old skin rash with some redness to actual hives.
You mean hives?
Yeah, actually, you can have the diffuse sort of red rash. Hives are sort of, we think of allergies in particular when we see hives, and we worry about something that we've been exposed to. Then you would think of terms of things that might affect our breathing, such as our throat tightening, wheezing, and difficulty breathing. The worst part might be what we would call anaphylaxis, and that usually
Would you just explain anaphylaxis for the people who may not understand the seriousness of that allergy?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Anaphylaxis is and can a life-threatening issue. As well as difficulty breathing, it can cause a circulatory collapse, leading to hypotension and if
loss of your blood pressure.
Absolutely.
And to death.
Absolutely.
I have to interject this here because of some serious issues that I saw in my practice when I was practicing, as well as some personal ones, that I'm aware of a situation where a person was not actually eating what they were allergic to, but handled the dishes and rubbed their eyes.
Right.
And ended up in the emergency room.
Yes.
So that's a food allergy that's taken to extreme. What are the usual foods that people are allergic to? Let's start with children.
Well, children like everything, so we have to keep our eyes closely on them. Any fruits and vegetables can be a cause. Strawberries are always one I hear about. And as we were discussing ahead of time, celery has been shown to be a culprit that's highly allergic. Any nuts, of course, we think about like almonds, peanuts, very enjoyable to eat, but some people really can't be around them. I have a personal friend of mine who can't even be around peanuts, even in the room.
Even in the air.
Yes,
even
in the room, exactly.
What about seafood, shellfish?
Yes, that's another one that's seems to be very all or nothing. Either you're not allergic to it, but if you are, usually the manifestations of it are very serious. And again, even if shellfish is around, even if the liquid has gotten onto the food, or its food has been cooked with some element in it, those people can react very strongly.
Let's go back a little earlier, because we started with children, but infants have allergies, sometimes to their formula.
Absolutely.
And how does that manifest?
It can manifest in regurgitation and vomiting of the formula. To some of the things I mentioned, you can get rash and those sorts of things. And the toughest thing for the parent is deciding, is this an allergy? Milk allergy is a very well described issue in pediatrics versus just other things going on like reflux or another more serious GI disorder.
I mentioned earlier that there could be some emotional. We know about asthma and the role that emotion plays. Mm-hmm. What about some of the other emotions that or challenges that children with allergies may have as they get older and they're going to school, for example?
Right. Well, as they move along, they're going to meet new kids who aren't familiar with their situation. Maybe they didn't grow up with them in elementary school. So that's sort of an area of susceptibility for them if a child sees somebody react strongly to something, a food or something like that. It sort of leaves open an opportunity to get teased or needled otherwise, and that's tough to deal with. In addition, they can kind of be just nervous and on edge because they may not know what might make them react. And stigmata of, say, having to carry an asthma pump around all the time. I know I watch my kids' cartoons. They even make fun of that in some of the things. Here's the kid who has to carry the asthma pump all the time. Or even carry an EpiPen if their allergies are serious enough.
Exactly.
So having to go everywhere with those things always at your disposal, that can change your life.
We were talking about the foods that are brought up often in terms of allergies. We missed one very biggie. And when I was thinking about kids and going to birthday parties and so forth, chocolate.
Yes, absolutely.
And imagine a child going to a birthday party and the cake is sitting there, and
yes.
and all the things that could lead to. So what is it that parents need to think about when they have children who are allergic? What kind of precautions should they be taking? Well, you already mentioned a couple, but I'd like you to reiterate them.
Sure. The first thing is exposing them to them. Now, as I said, there are things that promote sort of a less serious exposure, but again, as you and I were talking ahead, food allergies can be very serious, and you can't really be suppressed. You can't get shots, in other words, to make them go away.
So once you have a food allergy, all you can do is?
Avoidance.
Avoidance.
Absolutely.
Okay. What else can they do?
Well,
you mentioned the EpiPen.
Right. If their allergies are severe enough, you just have to be prepared. So have your asthma pump, have your EpiPen, have your Benadryl, whatever is necessary to, take care of the problem should it arise. Also, if you're not sure your child is having an allergic reaction, or maybe they've had a milder one at the past, but this one seems more severe, don't hesitate to seek medical attention. What's the worst thing that can happen?
Better to be wrong.
What's the worst thing that can happen? You go in, you stabilize things, everything's okay, you go on your way. But it could be something more serious. Because as we know, in a number of allergies, the exposure, each time you're more exposed, gets worse.
Gets worse.
Right.
And the other thing is, what about when you're introducing new foods?
Well, one strategy I tell parents is if you yourself are allergic or your child has had some food allergies in the past, or even medication allergies, if you know of these foods we talked about earlier, strawberries, nuts, chocolate, as you said, be around. Make sure there's a grown-up around. Make sure there's somebody around that could deal with an emergency situation should it arise if your child, in fact, does have an allergic reaction.
Thank you so much for being here. We're going to have to leave it at that today. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Watch this and other Brooklyn Independent Television episodes online at brickartsmedia.org/BIT.